Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the peak-to-peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
Welcome back to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. I'm Barbara Hardt.
And I'm Doug Armitage. And now to the news desk.
This episode is brought to you by Brightwood Music, Hardt's Backhoe, Tadasana Mountain Yoga, Mountain Girls Pickles, Willoughby Honey, and of course, the Mountaineer newspaper.
This week, the Backdoor Theater has a special showing of The Big Lebowski on March 6th at 7:30 p.m. March 6th is the anniversary of the 1998 film The Big Lebowski's release. Fans celebrate it as the Day of the Dude in honor of easygoing philosophy of the movie's protagonist, played by Jeff Bridges. Jeff, the Dude Lebowski, is a single, unemployed slacker who likes weed, white Russians, and bowling, but he is mistaken for a millionaire of the same name, seeks restitution for a rug ruined by debt collectors, enlists his bowling buddies for help, all the while trying to find a millionaire's missing wife. The Big Lebowski is rated R.
This week's edition of the Mountaineer includes several Keep It Local features. Keep It Local is a campaign to help businesses share their business information and story across the peak-to-peak region. Keep It Local is funded for Nederland through the town of Nederland and for Gilpin by the Gilpin County Commissioners. All funding is through the American Rescue Plan Act funding. During 2022, you'll see 104 stories from Nederland and 104 stories from Gilpin. Do you want to have your business featured? Check out www.themountaineer.com and click on Submit My Business Feature to be considered for an upcoming story. Businesses outside the Keep It Local coverage area can also be included as business short takes.
Frozen Dead Guys is coming up March 18th to 20th. This year's event will feature dozens of events, live music, and lots more. Be sure to check out their website for event information at frozendeadguydays.com.
For our first story, we talked to Krista Crabtree and Josh Lynch, coaches for the Nederland Alpine Ski Team. Take it away, Jamie.
Hello, my name is Jamie Lammers, and today I'm going to be interviewing the head coach of the Nederland Alpine Ski Team, Krista Crabtree, and the assistant coach of the Alpine Ski Team, Josh Lynch. First, let's talk to Krista Crabtree.
My name is Krista Crabtree. I live outside of Rollinsville. I am the head girls ski coach for the Nederland BVSD Alpine Ski Team this year.
And how has the Alpine ski season been going?
It's been great. We just got back from the state meet at Winter Park, and we brought 19 Alpine athletes to the States, and that means 19 of them qualified for either giant slalom or both. And so that's pretty great accomplishment. And we had one of the women on our team, she qualified for all state, which means she accrued a high amount of points throughout the season with her race finishes that put her in the top 10 finishers of the entire state for girls. We'll be able to confirm that with the results from states about what the placement means. But basically she made the all-state team from Nederland BVSD, so that's great. And then we had a lot of finishers in the top 25, and that's of the state, so that's great too. And the best part of all is that the team really supports each other. So whether it's the state team, the 19 that made the states, or we have like 55 athletes on the team. And a big part of the team atmosphere is camaraderie and teamwork and supporting each other.
Do you mind giving me just an overview as to how the season is going, what's been going on in the season, and what kinds of things you guys have been gearing up for?
Yeah. In the fall, before the holiday break, it starts with dryland training and getting all the necessary gear for the season, which it's a lot. If you ever see the ski bus, you know that they need skis and poles and GS suits and slalom gear and helmets, and it's definitely gear intensive. And pre-holiday break, there's training on the hill, because when we come back from the break, the Alpine Ski Team has their first race that week. And so there's a lot of training to get ready for that. And then a lot of the athletes will free ski a lot over the holiday break to get miles and to get ready for the first race, which happens right when we come back from break. So then we start, that's what, January 9th or 10th on a Friday. And then they have races every Friday leading all the way up to what we just finished on the 18th of February, which was the state meet, the final meet. So races every Friday. Training practices are every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at Eldora. So that's 3 practices a week. That were Mondays and Wednesdays. The athletes have to be up at the ski area at Eldora by 2 o'clock. Train till 4. Often it's getting dark in December when they're training out in the cold. And there's a lot of teamwork involved in order to help coaches set the course and take the course down and slip the course. And the training, there's a lot to it, but then it's pretty incredible to see the athletes getting, training on the courses and really honing their skills and working on their ski technique and working on their tactics on how to ski the course and ski fast. And we see so much improvement throughout this season, starting in November with dryland when they're getting strong, and all the way through till February 18th when we finish states. The next cool thing, though, is there's a few athletes, including Bella Lynch and Towns Baki, who live both up in Netherlands. They are ski meisters, which means on top of Alpine, they are also Nordic ski racers, and they train in the morning. And not only that, but during states, which Bella and Towns both qualified for, they raced 2 runs in the Alpine race. They were there from, 7 to 2 o'clock. Then they had to rush from Winter Park. Then they had to drive over to Snowy Mountain Ranch. And then they competed in the Nordic event. And that's incredible. And both of them will go on to represent the Netherlands BVSC ski teams by racing in the Ski Meister at Steamboat. And so during that competition, they'll race all 4 events. They race slalom, GS, classic, and skate, but they do it all in one day, which is pretty incredible.
What would you say is your personal favorite part about seeing all of this training come to fruition and just being able to coach this team?
I've been coaching for many years in different arenas, and I think the part I'm most proud of is seeing how much these athletes can improve during this time and do that with balancing schoolwork as well. And also they have gratitude for being out there and for getting coaching. They help, they pitch in, they say thank you, they help each other. It's really cool to be at the start of a race course and see half the team is cheering each other on, bringing each other's coats down and cleaning off each other's boots to get them into their bindings, getting them psyched up to race. So I think my favorite part is just seeing, number 1, the improvement, and number 2, the teamwork and the support that the athletes give to each other. And they're from a lot of different schools too, so they make friends with athletes from different schools, even though we're all one team.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really want to ask. I don't know if there's anything you want to add about the ski season or about the team members or just anything in general.
Well, I would just say I think that being outside in the winter, especially, it's a challenge and it really requires discipline, but it's very rewarding. I think that the life skills that athletes learn from ski racing, whether it's Nordic or Alpine, will really carry them through in life. I mean, I think it'll make some things seem easier. You can imagine day after day, you're balancing your schoolwork and you're getting up early to go race. We often got on a bus at 6 a.m. and we didn't get home till 7 p.m. And so it takes balance and discipline and resilience and hard work, and you're tired. And the fact that these athletes, they do it for this intense part of the winter season I just think it really builds those life skills. I think it'll just make the athletes more resilient in whatever they choose to do in their future.
And what are you most excited for in regards to the championships?
I was just really excited to see the kids succeed and to cheer each other on and to do well against all the other high school kids in the state doing the same sport. And I was just really excited to see how we did and that we did well, but also I just loved seeing the teamwork. And then, with the Ski Meister, that's just really cool to see two seniors to be able to go and compete in this 4-event day is pretty incredible. That happens on March 1st. And I should just say that the fact that Netherlands Middle Senior High School has a ski area 6 minutes away from it is just incredible, and we should be able to utilize that, and that's something special that not every high school student has. And so it is an intense sport that takes a lot of strength just to endure the elements and everything, but it does have a lot of reward. And ski racing does. Just the freedom of it, the ability to get better, the ability to have a team that you support and that supports you, all of that, I think, is a huge benefit that comes from ski racing.
I don't know. I think that's pretty much it on my end.
Now, let's talk to Josh Lynch.
My name is Josh Lynch, and I am the head men's alpine coach for Netherlands High School and all of BVSD.
How is the Alpine season going overall? Can you give us a general overview of what's been going on?
Sure, absolutely. We have kids from all over the district, so from a number of different high schools that race for the Netherlands team, and that's, of course, including the Netherlands High School. And we also have kids of varying abilities, so we've got a range of kids who really need to work on improving their skiing ability and have absolutely no experience with ski racing whatsoever, all the way up to kids who have been ski racing for the better part of the past decade. And we've done our best to meet the needs of all of those kids. We've had about, 6 races, not including states, over the course of the season. And we've seen some absolutely fantastic results from both the boys and girls in GS and in slalom. We've had results within the top 5 and top 10 in a bunch of races. But the other really inspiring thing that we've had happen over the course of the season is we've seen tremendous improvement in all of the athletes, especially a lot of the kids who don't have all of the experience ski racing. So I would call the season overall a tremendous success. I should also mention that we had some really great performances at state, both in slalom and GS. We had some top 20 finishes from girls and boys, and we're absolutely proud of all of the athletes.
How did states go?
States went really well. We had 2 days of racing. That was Thursday and Friday of this past week, which was February 17th and 18th. We drove up to Winter Park on Wednesday after school with Sean DePaula, the athletic director, and we had 19 athletes total that were participating. First day's racing was GS. The second day's racing was slalom. We had a great showing in both of those. Starting with the boys GS, we had Evan Elmendorf, who finished in 28th place. Matthew Younts finished in 25th place. And when we moved to the girls in GS, we had Marley Farrior finish in 9th place. We had Maz Finch finish in 21st place. Nella Biker finish in 23rd place. Bella Lynch finished in 32nd place. Hattie Fuller finished in 34th place. Lily Waldman finished in 39th place. And Ciel Burnett finished in 44th place. And then when I moved to the boys slalom, Nick Norris finished in 19th place. Harry Rogers finished in 27th place. And our very own Towns Bakke finished in 31st place. When we moved to girls slalom, we had Haley Knierim finish in 13th place. We had Bella Lynch finish in 17th place. Maslin Finch finished in 21st place. Ava Eisinger finished in 28th place. Charlotte Marriott finished in 31st place. Lydia Serbinin finished in 36th place. Nella Biker finished in 40th place. And Lily Waldman finished in 44th place. Like I said, we had a number of kids competing. There are kids of varying experience levels that went to states, and more important than all of the results, all of our kids really raced their hearts out. They did all of their prep work coming into states. I think they felt like they were well prepared, and I think every single one of those kids executed the best race they could that day. So regardless of the placing, we were absolutely thrilled with how they performed.
And what do you think is your favorite part about being able to coach this season, and your favorite part about the states in general? Just what are some highlights?
I would say one of the coolest things is being witness to the entire team coming together and helping each other over the course of the 2 days. So when the kids start, they're usually spread across, say, 40 or 60 athletes, and we'll have the boys come up to the start to help girls. We'll have girls come up to the start to race boys, and we don't have all the athletes that are racing slalom also race GS, and respectively, we also don't have all the kids that are racing GS race slalom. And so a whole bunch of those kids stayed both days for the sole purpose of helping their teammates. I think that it's truly inspiring when the kids kind of step up to help out with the coaching, to help out with the prep work, and get their teammates ready for a run. I think that's definitely one of the coolest things that I got to be around for. I think one of the other highlights was we did not have team travel last year, and a lot of the kids that have raced with the team previously really missed that. And so it was a cool thing to see all of those kids kind of come together in the house in the 2 nights that we were up there and be able to be together as a team, to have some fun and just kind of relax and take the whole thing in and enjoy themselves. And, you know, honestly, I would say third on the list of high points is watching the kids ski and watching them perform and watching them be happy with how they were doing. But again, I think really in terms of the life lessons and experiences that they get, it's coming together as a team and having that whole experience with each other and supporting each other that I think is really huge and impressive.
Is there anything else big about the season or about the champions or about anything in general that you want to add?
You know, I think it's worth adding that we had 2 new head coaches, Krista and myself, and then Art was with us again. So I think we were all really happy with the coaching staff and how that worked. We also had a bunch of support from volunteer coaches and parents, which is crucial for making the season work. And we also had a really huge amount of support from Sean DePaula. And I really want to give just a big shout out to Sean for being there for the team and for every kid on the team from long before the season started all the way through states. Sean drove one of the white buses up to Winter Park with the team, and he shuttled athletes back and forth from our house to the race venue. He came out and watched some of the racing. He made sure that all of the athletes had food. I was really happy to have him there, to have him be able to kind of experience part of the race, part of states with the athletes, and have him really get a sense of what was going on. So a huge shout out and thanks to Sean.
Yeah, I think those are all the big questions that I have on my end.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you so much for coming on board.
Sure, absolutely. My pleasure.
Thank you so much to Krista and Josh for coming on board and talking to me about the Alpine Championships this year. I was unable to get an interview with the head coach for the Nordic team, Elaine Vardamus, to interview her about the Nordic Championships this year, which were held at the same time, Thursday, February 17th and Friday, February 18th, 2022 at Snow Mountain Ranch. But I do have the results for both the classic race and the skate race for boys and girls. So I wanted to give everybody on that team a shout out and let everybody know how they did. For the February 17th girls skate race, Bella Lynch earned 16th place, Mackenzie Weber earned 28th place, Megan Hess earned 43rd place, and Erin McClish earned 53rd place. The girls placed 8th overall. For the February 18th boys skate race, Paul Masters earned 44th place, Towns Baki earned 59th place, and Zach Weiner earned 60th place. The boys placed 11th overall. For the February 18th girls classic race, Bella Lynch earned 15th place, Mackenzie Weber earned 25th place, and Irwin McClish earned 28th place. The girls placed 8th overall. For the February 18th Boys Classic race, Paul Masters earned 37th place, Zach Weiner earned 52nd place, and Towns Baki earned 58th place. The boys placed 8th overall. Congratulations to everybody on the Nordic team for these outstanding results as well. Special thanks should also go out to Seth Waldman, the other head coach of the Alpine Ski Team, Arthur Nelson, the other assistant coach of the Alpine Ski Team, and Edian Fernandini, the athletic trainer for both the Nordic and the Alpine Ski Team.
Thanks, Jamie.
And back to the news desk. Visit Brightwood Music in Nederland for a wide array of accessories and instruments unlike any in the region. They have a variety of strings, including locally made Kurt Magnin strings from Cortez, Colorado. They also offer on-site repairs and can restring your 6-string acoustic instrument for $10 plus the cost of your favorite strings. They also offer lessons for all ages and abilities. Brightwood Music is family-owned and operated and has been a Netherlands staple for over a decade. They are located at 20 East Lakeview Drive, Unit 109 in Nederland, and can be reached at 303-258-8863.
Peak to Peak musicians and artists, we're looking for you. We are looking for April and May featured musicians. Would you like a feature story in the Mountaineer print, online, and podcast edition? We cover all the news of the Peak to Peak, including business, author, and artist profiles. Right now, these are all completed through email, phone calls, and occasional in-person interviews with our journalists. Interested? Email publisher1977@gmail.com to get on the list for upcoming editions.
Did you know the Mountaineer has a free 100-day trial to the online and print edition? You can check it out on the website at www.themountaineer.com and click on subscribe. You can pick up the latest edition on the stands, which has a free coupon inside of it, or you can email publisher1977@gmail.com to sign up.
The Democratic Caucus for Gilpin County is coming up on Saturday, March 5th at 1 p.m. and will be held on Zoom. If you'd like to participate in the caucus, please email gilpindemschair@gmail.com.
The Republican Caucus for Gilpin County is coming up on Thursday, March 3rd at 7 p.m. and will be held in person at the Gilpin County School, located at 10595 Highway 119 in Gilpin County. Credentials start at 6:30 p.m.
Tadasana Mountain Yoga is holding an Intro to Yoga class starting March 2nd. The class is from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at Tadasana Mountain Yoga, 20 East Lakeview Drive, Unit 110. Sign up on their website at www.tadasanamountainyoga.com.
For our next story, here is Jamie Lammers talking to Dan Williams, a local musician that plays in the Peak to Peak region.
Hello, my name is Jamie Lammers, and this is my interview with local musician Dan Williams.
My name is Dan Williams, and I have been playing saxophone and keyboards, piano, and other woodwind for pretty much my entire life, since I was 4. And I live in the great state of Colorado and the wonder county of Gilpin, just south of Rollinsville in God's country. Great. I love it here.
Now, you were talking to me before we started recording just about some of your own musical background and playing since you were the age of like 4 or 5, but you stopped briefly as well? Is that...
Yeah. So when I was, in college, you play in a blues band, reggae band, ska, punk rock, cover bands, but really my favorite were original bands. But through the process of life happening and having many jobs and whatnot, I started my own business with my significant other, Rebecca Lundberg. And we ran a solo company. We started that in 2007-8 when it all went to heck, and we got very busy. So I think I played, my last concert was 2009 at a July 4th celebration in front of, a few thousand people gathered to watch fireworks. And I realized at that moment that working 12 hours a day, 6-7 days a week, and then trying to perform and play music, they just didn't jive well at the same time. And I felt, you go with, at the time, what brings in the bacon. So we focused on our solar career and our solar business. And about 5 years after that, right around 2012, 13, I picked saxophone back up because I missed it so much. And then I started picking the piano back up, and we're still doing the business. And it wasn't until we moved out to Colorado in the summer of 2016 that I put my foot down. I'm joining a band again. That just really brought life back, music back to me in a hurry. And now I've been getting out and performing solo jazz concerts, and I just did a duet with Tony Crink down in Longmont, and just trying to get out and play more often. It's kind of like my serious hobby never went away. I wish I could have called it a serious career, but I probably definitely rank in the set of musicians who spent more money than I ever earned. I played the high school band, orchestra, jazz band, and when I got to college, I got into a big band, and this is in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis. Then I got into all the other bands I mentioned, and they're pretty much nameless, no one famous. I think the closest I ever got was maybe Picasso's Thinking, which probably no one's ever heard of, but we won a Best Unsigned Band contest put on by VH1 and Guitar Center, and I want to say that was 1998, and they had 11 regional winners. So I remember throwing the packet with the CD and the stuff about us into a barrel, and when I turned to the guy, I said, "Is this where we put it?" And they said, "Is this the only one?" I said, "No, it's nationwide." So there was probably 5,000 bands. They picked 11. We were one of them, and they flew us to Cleveland. We did the opening show for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we opened for John Fogerty. And people clapped for us, so that's a good thing. You are an unknown, unsigned band. They just plucked out of nowhere. And then John Fogerty came out, and I'll remember that weekend till the day I die. It's the first and only time I ever had a roadie. And they came down, grabbed our stuff. I walked up, said, "What are you doing?" They said, "We're setting the gear on stage." "Who are you?" "We're the stagehands." I go, "What is that?" I know a little bit more now. I still don't have it. I would do anything to play music. I've pumped my gear through 22 below, through 6 inches of snow, because in the club we were at in downtown Minneapolis, it started out great, then the temperature dropped and it snowed to the dickens, and then you're walking out at 2 in the morning going, "Yep, I gotta get up at 6, go to work, but I'm hauling my gear out of here and going home and doing my day gig so I can do my nighttime passion." So no, it's not been easy, but that's okay. If you really love something, you'll do whatever it takes. And that's what I'm in. I love the whole possibility of creating something just because I got dropped on the head when I was a kid. Now I hear things. You know, most people, that might be just like a single tone or 2 tones. Mine's it's an entire orchestra. And now I just have to get it out onto something that other people can hear.
So how many bands have you been involved with? Because you mentioned you were involved in a few.
I would say between the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, probably 15 bands, maybe 18 bands. And it wasn't because I didn't have dedication. It's just that they kept breaking up. And, you know, either the lead singer and the guitar player fall in love and then fall out of love and now the band's got to break up, or somebody got pretty good and got picked up by another band and then we just couldn't keep our stuff together. But I never stopped. And actually, I'm playing with Big Thompson Flood. We're playing in March down at Bootstrap Brewery. Might be the longest band I've been with, 5 years. And we've gone through a couple of different renditions of players, but that's what happens in the music industry, right? Mm-hmm. If you can get a group of people together and they sound like, hey, they got a sound that's pretty good, that's magic. Keeping that group together, because everyone has a different livelihood, is like herding cats. And if you can find a group that's been together for 20 years, that truly is magic happening. Because imagine all the trials and tribulations that band had to go through and still is together. So I enjoy playing with them, and I just happen to have some things I have to get off my chest. And I just love being in front of a crowd playing and looking at the reactions when I'm playing something. That feeds my soul. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one of your favorite aspects about being able to play live?
Playing live is probably my favorite thing, and I love recording. Turns out what I'm really not good at, and those are the things that you realize as you get older, you have to take account of your weaknesses too, is advertising, promoting myself. I'm just not good at that. Never have been. I've always been like the side guy, not the front person, and supportive and all that. And now you're like, hey, you got to get your name out there. Okay. I'm trying. First off, I don't even know how to use Instagram. I got an Instagram account, but the phone's pretty small to read. So I like to do it on the computer. Well, when I joined, they didn't allow you to do any posts or anything from the computer. And I thought it was the dumbest thing I had ever seen. By the way, I still don't know what the icons mean. So you go anywhere else, you could like hover over an icon, it tells you what it is, or there might be like, hey, here's how this works. No, none of that.
Square doesn't do that.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is the dumbest thing. So I actually have an Instagram account, and I hardly ever go there because, that's what it is. And I don't mean that to diss Instagram. I'm sure a lot of people love it, but, you're trying to get like, all right, I'm going to be hip and use a social media account, and I have no idea how.
Would you say that you have a particular style when it comes to playing your instruments or the kind of music that you make or anything along those lines?
I think you would definitely hear a smattering of jazz, blues, and definitely turning it up a notch. So whether you want to call that a rock or a funk or something coming in, that definitely has been my heroes. John Coltrane, Michael Brecker, Miles Davis, Vince Guaraldi. The first jazz album I ever heard was Maynard Ferguson in the 60s, because we had one record player, and it was the old kind where you had to lift up the needle and move it, and we had all the classical. So we had Mozart, Mendelssohn, Chopin, all the greats, Beethoven, all that, and we have them dating back Clay records from the early 20s. I mean, this is what my dad had. And then you had Harry James, a Coltrane album, and some Maynard Ferguson. So that's what I grew up listening, and of course I fell in love with saxophone and the piano. So it wasn't really until I got to college that I played anything other than jazz and classical. I got into a punk band. I got into a R&B group. I got into a blues band. But having the strong training, I guess you would say, in classical background and jazz, I could pick up. And I always had a creative side. I had to work at that. I worked as a parking attendant in college, and I spent 5 years learning how to improvise by sitting in the booth playing saxophone when there's no one in the parking lot, and I'm sitting there waiting for the car to come up. So I just play saxophone right there, learning whatever, and throw through all these chops. I have a smattering of everything, but I would say jazz, blues, and rock would be heavy influence.
And you were mentioning that you have a couple of albums out as well.
I do. I have 2 now. The first one, I guess, would be I would call it alternative jazz rock, but it turns out between the time that I understood music, which we had about a dozen different varieties, there's probably 1,000 different nuances to what they, dubstep. I mean, think of all the different things you can call music. So, when you're trying to submit it and get it published, they're like, what kind of music do you have? And you're like, I'm alternative jazz rock. And you go, and no one has alternative jazz rock. They have alternative jazz, they have alternative rock. They don't have my flavor. But that's what I would call it. And then the second one was more jazz focused, even though I still had a couple of alternative jazz. This time I'm going to separate my jazz music, put out that entire album, and I'm going to put out the rock album separate. I don't have a publicist to come tell me the smart things to do. I just throw it at the wall and see what sticks.
What's your favorite part about being able to, make music and be able to have this fun little side thing, or is it kind of a career now?
I'm going to call it a career. I made about $22 off that last album, and I got about 8,000 plays, so that's about what you get is about $22. It cost me about $3,000 or $4,000 to put out. So when I told you that music can be a career, you just got to come with funding. I'd like to call it because this is something I'm going to continue to do. If you asked me to go play golf, I would say I could be your caddy or I can dig the ditch, meaning I'm not good at it, but people play that into their 70s. So I'm going to play music well into my 70s, 80s, as long as I do that. So playing out and all that is just, I'm just going to do that, and I'll call that a career. Now, if money has to be attached to it, well, then I'm just going to be part of the 99%. Yeah, my favorite thing, the creativity. So the 2 things I enjoy doing most is starting with a blank slate and creating a whole song. And then the other part of it is when we're performing, creating a solo on the fly. So true improv. So I might work on a song and work a whole bunch of different licks in that, but until I step on that stage and I'm about to, whether I'm going to play the saxophone or I'm going to play the piano, I might change it up right then and there. And I love that ability to make it sound like, how did you come up with that? I just stitched together a whole bunch of different thoughts and threw them in a bucket, dumped it on the floor, and As a good friend of mine said, when he got better, it felt like he had the ability to slow time. And he could say, the solo, if I take it in that direction, it's going to go like this, but I hear this, so I'm going to go that direction now. And then the next instant, you're picking a different direction. But to you in the audience, it sounds like I just did this run and then something else. But in my mind, I'm playing. I'm actually having fun playing with the different ideas, but I'm doing it in real time. I call it art in motion. That's maybe the best thing I call it. So those two aspects are probably my favorite thing. It doesn't mean I can't sit there. I literally just turned down a gig playing in a cover band. Actually could have made some good money. I couldn't see myself playing the same exact part 3 times a week with a smile on my face. And I don't have a part of me in there, meaning I'm playing someone else's music and I'm not improvising. It doesn't mean I won't play covers. I play a Miles Davis, I'll play a Vince Guaraldi, I'll play a Herbie Hancock tune. But then I might throw my take at it, and then I'm doing improv on it. And if you come down to Very Nice Brewery later this month, actually it's next week, Thursday, February 24th, I have a gig there, 6 to 8 p.m. And in March, I think I play there about once a month. You will see me do a few covers, but you'll see me do my take, and then my improv on it, and it definitely won't bore you, I can tell you that.
I don't know if there's anything else you want to add about just your musicality or things you enjoy in general about music.
Well, part of trying to do some solo music is I eventually would like to get together and do a trio or quartet and play that out there. That is actually a lot harder than it looks. And to see a group out there that's been out there, someone is driving that bus. Someone's got to get out there and work hard to get all those gigs and help those guys put money on the table, because frankly, if I go do a gig in Longmont, drive there and drive back, that was 4 gallons of gas. That ain't free. That's $12, $15. Okay, fine. That's not much. I'll do it any day of the week. But that money has to come from somewhere. So my goal is to work up to having my own group, quartet. Right now I do play with another group, and we have a little something rolling, so that's always nice. So right now, doing a solo gig until I can get, popular enough to then book a bigger venue and have a musician play with me. So, am I looking to go play Madison Square Garden? That would be great. I still have to earn my way there. I have a horrible website. I was looking at it today, and things have changed in 22 years since I did my last website for myself. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to update it, but it's danwilliamsmusic.rocks. That's the website. But I have a Facebook page where it's way easier, and I can just click, hey, I got 2 gigs coming up next month and the one after. These are all at the Very Nice Brewery, and I got to tell you, Susan and Jeff are great hosts there, and really just believe in having local music.
All right, well, yeah, I think that's pretty much all on my end.
Yeah, no worries.
I don't know, yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was great.
Thank you so much, Dan, for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. You can catch him live at Very Nice Brewing Company on 20 Lakeview Drive, number 112 in Nederland on Thursday, March 24th, 2022 at 6 p.m. You can also stream his albums Are You Pray and Still Learnin' wherever you listen to music.
Thanks, Jamie, for this fun interview.
And for our final story today, we talked to our local food businesses about the National Food Award they won. Once again, you're up, Jamie.
Hello, my name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to a very special series of interviews. Today, I'm going to be interviewing 3 businesses that have all won the 2022 Good Food Award for excellence in social and environmental responsibility, craftsmanship, and flavor. These 3 businesses are all either from the Peak to Peak area or were founded by Peak to Peak residents. And these businesses are Willoughby Honey, Mountain Girl Pickles, and Jymix. We're going to talk to the owners of all 3 of these businesses today. First, let's talk to Don Willoughby of Willoughby Honey, which won a 2022 Good Food Award for its honeycomb. I apologize, the audio on Willoughby's end is a bit soft, so you might have to turn up the volume a bit in order to hear him.
Hi, my name is Don Willoughby. I live in the mountains of Colorado, and I have bees, and I'm a retired ship captain, and this is what I'm doing during my retirement, amongst some other things, mostly volunteer work.
So you own a business, Willoughby Farms?
Willoughby Farms, and there's sort of other spin-offs, Willoughby Honey and Willoughby Specialty Foods that produces olive oil and maple syrup and a number of other skincare products.
Your honeycomb from Willoughby Honey just won a very special award.
I'm really thrilled about that. The honeycomb that I produce is cut right from the beehive, and it's just natural honeycomb. You just cut it out and you put it in a box, and it's great on charcuterie boards, with goat cheese and crackers, or any number of things. And I sent a number of boxes off to the Good Foods Award people, and they evaluated it and told me that I was one of the finalists. And then later they contacted me and said I was the winner, the national winner for the best honeycomb in their program.
That's amazing.
It is. I'm real thrilled about that.
So how did you get started in keeping bees, starting this business, selling honeycomb? How did you get started?
Well, I was teaching skiing at Breckenridge, and one of my colleagues there said, you know, he's sick and tired of the teaching business and the whole business of being out on the mountain trying to make a living. He was going to go back to Poland, plant an orchard, and raise bees. And that kind of struck me as kind of a wild thing to think about even doing. So I got on YouTube that night, and I YouTubed everything I could think of about beekeeping. And by the end of the night, I was hooked. I thought, I can do that. And a day or so later, I ordered my first colony of bees, which is a package of bees in a shoebox. Order in January, and you get in May. And I ordered a kit to build a beehive, and I glued and hammered and put it all together and waited for my bees to come.
Why do you love this business? What's your favorite part about doing it, and why is it something that's very special to you?
Well, bees, honey, and bees, they represent the essence of environmental sustainability. So that's what's important to me. Everything about the business. I think the favorite part of my beekeeping, honey selling business is it's a nice people filter. I used to sell at Doc Joe's until he sold the business and I had to move on. The thing that almost without exception, everyone who stops to buy honey is environmentally conscious. And those kinds of mindful people are just inherently nice. It would make interesting demographic to study someone who's writing a master's thesis, the kind of people that you meet there, and churches and libraries. And there are what I call now nice people filters out there if you know how to find them.
What is most exciting to you about having won this award?
Well, what excites me the most about this award is the validation that even at my age, I can contribute something of award-winning value to such a remote community. And here we are way up in the mountains, and I have colleagues up here that are also doing very well. And, you know, we can still make it as a mom-and-pop size operation and still produce award-winning quality.
Would you mind telling us a little bit more just about your personal background? You mentioned that you teach skiing and that you were a ship's captain at one point. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of that stuff?
Sure. You know, my main career was as a ship's captain. My background is engineering, but I drove ships most of my life. I started out as a fisherman in Alaska after I left the canning industry and the food industry as an engineer back in the days of wooden boats and Iron Men. And I spent some time up in Alaska, and that's how I wound up in shipping. Spent that career doing that. I came to Colorado after my dad passed and started teaching here to fill time. I decided that I wasn't going to go back to shipping, and eventually wound up keeping bees. And now I keep a lot of bees, and the more I do it, the better I get at it. And they're local bees, and they all have names. Betty 1, Betty 2, Betty 3. They're all females, interestingly. All the worker bees are females, and there's only one queen in a hive. It's really fascinating, the hierarchy of their behavior. And the drones, they don't do very much. They get you a little bit of honey, and then they get kicked out when it gets to be wintertime, sort of like the grasshopper and the ant story. The volunteer work that I do is also really rewarding. The special needs program, the night program at Dora, where if you can breathe, we can teach you to ski. We don't even have to know if you're having a good time. We can still take you out and put you on some kind of ski or sit ski or some kind of contraption that'll get you down the hill, and you get to experience things. The other thing I do is I work a little bit with the Netherlands area seniors on their board, and we make an effort to try and make sure that the seniors are getting proper nutrition, in the Netherlands area. And that's also really important. So it's the time of my life where, there's an element of giving back and learning about the community and participating in the community.
What is your favorite part about beekeeping in general? Is there something that sticks out to you about the profession in any particular way?
Well, bees forage and produce superfood that has a lot of amazing properties. We won't get science of it here now, but it's a preservative. It has natural histamines that can help with allergies. A lot of people that have some diabetic component, they can tolerate the natural sugars that are found in honey. It's kind of great to be able to go out there in a bee yard with literally millions of bees buzzing around your head. And sometimes you show up there and, you're just a big bee and they just crawl all over you and they have no interest in you whatsoever outside of the fact that you're in their environment and you're not a threat. Sometimes you get to the bee yard and you get to the gate and they'll meet you right at the gate and they'll say, look, Donald, not today, okay? And if you're not listening, you're going to have a bit of a challenge. And there are a number of other challenges with bees that, in their environment, and we're trying to figure out how not to lose them, because if we lose the bees, that's going to give us some serious food considerations. We'd like to try and get better at not having them harmed by pesticides. The farmers where I keep the bees near them, they all call me on the phone if they're going to do anything to do with spraying, and I make sure I keep the bees indoors, and they run their farms, and they try to keep from hurting any of the bees. But there's a lot of attrition bees, there's a lot of bees. So in the wintertime, they don't all die, but they certainly reduce their numbers a lot. There's winter bees and there's summer bees, and all from the same queen, but they grow different at different times of year. The summer bees last maybe 6 weeks, the winter bee lasts all winter long. And they get in a cluster around the queen and eat honey, and honey to bees are just calories of heat, and they keep the queen warm and that big ball inside the hive. And when the ones on the outside of the ball get cold, they move in, and the inner ones move out, and they just eat honey and make heat. Wiggle their wings, make heat, keep everybody warm, and go back at it in the springtime when the flowers start to come out. Now, everybody knows Susan at the Very Nice Brewing Company, and she's offered to host a lecture platform where I can give some short presentations about bees and talk more about this and beekeeping and the importance of pollinators to our food crops and challenges that we face with how bees and their global health, the harbinger of our ecosystem, relates to our food and insect health. You can get my honey at the Mountain People's Co-op in downtown Netherlands. I carry my honey, my olive oil, my maple syrup, and I've been invited this year to join the Netherlands Farmers Market this summer, and I intend to offer my products there as well.
Is there anything else in general that you want to add about your background, your business, anything just in general?
Well, it's probably the world's smallest business, but I detail most of it. I'm just a tiny little business. And the Netherlands area community, they seek me out and they buy my honey, and I've gotten rave reviews. I'm really glad that I'm able to bring award-winning products to Netherlands area. That's going to be my job for them.
All right. Well, those are pretty much all the questions I have on my end. I want to thank you so much for coming on board and joining the podcast. This was really cool.
Yeah, I'm really glad to have an opportunity to do it, and several others that have been, well, there's 2 others I think in our area that have won awards as well that we're going to talk to as well. That's great.
For sure.
Next, let's talk to Lorena James from Mountain Girl Pickles, which won a 2022 Good Food Award for its pickled okra. Once again, the audio is acting really strange on Lorena's end, so I apologize if you can't hear her very well at times.
I'm Lorena James, owner-operator of Mountain Girl Pickles.
You recently won an award for Mountain Girl Pickles that is incredibly exciting. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. It's called the Good Food Award. It's a national award. So it's for my pickled okra. So very honored and very grateful to have received this award.
How did you work to receive the award? Like, what went behind it, and how did you end up receiving it?
I heard about the Good Food Award from other vendors that I work the Boulder Farmers Market with, and it's just really special because the food quality has to be just amazing to be involved in this full event. So once I heard about it, we applied, and it takes about a year. Like, you send in samples. There's blind tastings. You can't have labels or anything on your jar. And so once you get samples in, then you hear, oh my gosh, we're a finalist in this competition. So then you have to wait a couple more months before you know if you win or not. And they asked a lot of questions. They really care that your product is made local, sourced local, has to be a high quality product as well. So after a couple months, then we found out we won, which is amazing. And then we had to keep it a secret for another 2 months so we could announce that we were winners. So it's a 2022 award, and all this happened in 2021.
How did this business start? How did you get started in this business, and where did it come from?
My father actually taught me canning. I grew up in South Louisiana, so he has always made pickled vegetables and jams his whole life. His mother taught him, and her mother taught her, so now I'm a 4th generation canner. One of my friends out here, I live in Netherlands, she had a restaurant, and he was coming to visit one weekend, so we decided we were going to make some pickles to go in a Bloody Mary for the customers, because that's what you do when your parents come. You find something fun to do and hang out with your friends and do it. So we made some pickles and from there, people were like, oh, those are good. Can I get some? And that's how it started. People were requesting jars of pickles or green beans. And then I started with our very small holiday market in Netherlands. It was my first one, and it has grown since then.
What's your personal background in regards to your own personal life and how you started this business and all that sort of stuff?
Well, I worked in restaurants forever before I started making the pickled vegetables. And once I started getting into making the pickled vegetables, I started looking at local farms that I could get the produce from. Definitely wanted to try and keep it local. Everything tastes a little better. So I got out of the restaurant business and got into the pickle world and started running my own business. And yeah, definitely enjoy life a little more now that I'm not service industry, but still kind of service industry, I guess, since I'm working farmers market still and getting to talk to the people, talk about the product.
What do you love about being able to run this business? Is there a favorite part that you have, or is there just something that really sticks out to you?
You know, I love meeting people. We make a great product. It's delicious. It's good for you. It tastes great. So it really makes me happy that people are able to enjoy it and that I'm able to get it to as many people as possible. I like that a lot of my friends are able to work with me, so that always makes a big difference. And just, you know, building it and seeing where we started and where it's going is pretty awesome to see.
What's most exciting to you about having won this award?
I guess just knowing that it's a national award and there's people out there that think this product is that good, besides just me and my friends. Market people, you know, like I said, a blind tasting, so we didn't know anything about it, but they enjoyed it that much to get us an award for it. It's just amazing to me. And, you know, the recognition and that many more people will hopefully be able to try it because now they'll know about it because of this award.
Is there anything else in general you want to add about the business or your own personal background involving it or just anything along those lines?
I love what I do, and I'm happy I get to do it. The products, make all these delicious pickled vegetables that are good for you. Happy that people enjoy them so much. Very grateful to be able to have the support of our community to keep my business going.
All right. Well, I think those are all the big questions that I have on my end. Thank you so much for coming on board and joining this podcast.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you interviewing me.
Yeah, for sure.
The story going.
Yeah.
And finally, let's talk to Nicole Nuremberg of Jimix, which won a 2022 Good Food Award for its spicy toasted coconut and ginger snack mix.
My name is Nicole Nuremberg, and I'm the owner and founder of Jimix.
And Jimix recently won a very special award. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. For sure. So we recently were acknowledged as a Good Food Award winner. And the Good Food Awards, it's one of the 5 key programs of the Good Food Foundation, which is based in California. And those awards were created, in their own words, to celebrate, connect, empower, and leverage a passionate and engaged yet overlooked players in the food system, and those who are driving towards tasty, authentic, and responsible food in order to humanize and reform our food culture. So some pretty lofty goals by the Good Food Foundation, and they're definitely doing it.
How did this award come to be? How did you guys get the award, and what led up to it?
Sure. So the awards themselves, this is their 12th year, and each year there's around 2,000 entries from across the U.S. Your product to be produced or grown in the U.S. to participate, and this year there were 39 states, including Washington, D.C., and the process began for us in June of 2021 with a blind tasting. So what you do is you fill out a little questionnaire and you get assigned a number letter system. Ours was F13, and so there's no labeling, there's no ingredients, there's no writing. It's really just a blank envelope package that you send your product in with your code. And then they test it just on taste from there. And then if you are what they call a high taste score, you then earn a chance to move forward as a finalist and then potentially a winner after meeting or exceeding the foundation's environmental social standards for both farmers and food producers.
How did Jimix start as a whole?
My own personal background is long steeped in both growing and making food, beginning in childhood. I was raised on a 350-acre working farm in Michigan. It's where my folks actually still live. And when I was growing up, we had a really sizable family garden and raised our own animals as well. My mom and dad are like powerhouses there. They get it all done, 5 children and a big farm. And then once I was off in college, I volunteered at my local food co-op and I waited tables and learned a ton about both fine dining and kind of quick food, fast food while doing all of that. And I was earning a degree in integrated physiology at FU Boulder. That's where I ended up graduating from. And during the same time, I was also working toward an advanced certification in 2 classical Indian systems of health, yoga therapy and Ayurveda. It was a really exciting time seeing how both modern Western medicine and then these 5,000-year-old traditional systems from India both approached particular issues of health and food and illness and wellness, and how they so often mirrored and supported each other from diagnostics to treatment. And so kind of hand in hand with those studies and my passion for good food, it's all of this that led me forward towards starting Jimix.
What do you think is your favorite part about being able to run this business and sell food to a local community and just providing this service?
So I love this industry. The food industry is filled with countless wonderful people who I've met along the way, either in the business end between the support at our local libraries with creating a business and doing all of licensing, filing, things like that, the business end of meeting with local buyers and markets. I benefited from personal mentorships that have helped me both grow my company and myself. And then back when sampling in the store was a thing before COVID, meeting with my customers who helped me shape and finesse my recipes to be what they are today. And I feel the incredible good fortune of having the support and encouragement of so many people. And I would say one of my favorite parts of owning this company and operating this company is that it allows me to work with these ingredients that I deeply respect and enjoy. These fragrant spices, oven toast, coconut, and our base ingredient, which is a poha, which is a flaked rice. I slow roast nuts, peanuts, cashews, and then the tempering of fresh curry leaf is indescribable. I feel like the luckiest person.
What is incredibly special to you about having won this award and about having this local business recognized on such a national level?
Yeah, being acknowledged as a Good Food Award winner, it means so much to me. My fellow foundation members and winners past and present are the same farmers, producers, craft people whom I look up to most. Their products are the ones that I enjoy in my own home with my friends and family. And on the business end, these are the producers and craftspeople who are modeling what means the most to me, the highest environmental, personal, social commitments in growing, manufacturing, and also bringing food to market. So being in their inspiring company is what I'm most excited about. I'm really looking forward to meeting some of them in person for the first time at the award event in San Francisco this March.
I didn't realize there was an award event, actually.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I don't know if you're a foodie, but are you familiar with the restaurant Noma, which is in Copenhagen?
No.
It's been voted collectively as the #1 restaurant for the people who vote on these kinds of things. It's won year after year. The owner and the head chef of that restaurant even greeted the Good Food Award winners the morning that they were announced. So it's this special foundation that is actually global, not just national. And it's this collective of food growers and makers that even now, I don't think I realized how special it was until this kind of final part of the award system and learning all of the people who are connected to it.
And what do you think is the biggest connection you have in regards to the people that you serve with Jimix? What do you think you connect with most with people that buy your product?
I mean, some of what's been fun about creating this product, and especially when there was the sampling opportunity, both inside the markets where Jimix was already on the shelf, but then going to event shows, and I had the good fortune of getting a booth at the last Netherlands Farmers Market, the Harvest Fest this fall, so I got to sample outside, and it was the first time I had sampled in almost 2 years at that point. So to reconnect, and for so many people, Jimix is part of a traditional family of snacks that are so common throughout India, Nepal, throughout East Asia, but they're less common here. And so sometimes their first bite of Jimix is also their first opportunity to taste curry leaf, fresh curry leaf, or to try poa, which is the toasted rice that we use as the base of our snack, or to have this combination of sweet and salty and all of the 6 tastes of Ayurveda that we include in our recipes. And so that is really fun. It's really terrific to be on the introduction end of it, and it's also really wonderful when I am sampling and people who grew up with these snacks, their mothers made these snacks for them, and they're here on the other side of the world, and they're getting a taste of home, and I get to see their excitement, and they talk to me about how their mom made their recipe and how I make mine, and it's so much fun for me. I really enjoy that part.
Is there anything else in general about the business or about food or about the award that you would like to add?
I don't think so, Jamie. I think we hit it all.
All right. Well, in that case, I want to thank you so much for coming on board and joining the podcast. This was really great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much to Don, Lorena, and Nicole for coming on board and joining us for the podcast to talk about this incredible honor. Although, according to Nicole, the ride is not over yet.
The winners were notified in January, on January 14th, and that was when we were supposed to all be in San Francisco together for the award show, but the COVID numbers were so significant that they needed to move it to March. And so it's like they announced the winners in January, but we're going to the award show and getting our medals and recognition in person.
That's right, everybody. You heard it here first. On Friday, March 4th, 2022, from 5 to 8 p.m. PST in the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco, California, the Good Food Awards ceremony is going to be held. There will be a reception from 5 to 6 p.m., then a ceremony from 6 to 8 p.m., and then an after ceremony where they have partnered with 5 incredible restaurants for the very first time in their history to offer very special dining experiences featuring this year's Good Food Award winners. Congratulations to all of you guys who qualify to go to that incredible ceremony, and I hope whoever goes tells us how it went.
Thanks again, Jamie, for the Good Food Awards.
And let's check back to the news desk one more time.
Did you know Hardt's Backhoe Service is your locally owned and operated excavating company working in the Peak-to-Peak region? They can take care of all your excavating needs, including septic installation, digging your new foundation, rock walls, construction demolition, and so much more. Now scheduling summer and fall projects, you can reach them at 303-589-9354.
Pick up this week's edition of The Mountaineer in print in multiple locations across the Peak-to-Peak, including Western Boulder County, Gilpin County, and Jefferson County, or online at www.themountaineer.com.
Very Nice Brewing Company has several featured community events in March, including Craft Beer and Cribbage, bring a cribbage board and cards, on Wednesdays, March 2nd, 9th, 23rd, 30th. Ukulele class with Doug Armitage of Brightwood Music for a $5 class fee on Thursdays, March 3rd, 10th, and 17th. Trivia night on Saturday, March 5th, from 5 to 7 p.m. with the theme TV series. Trivia night Sunday, March 13th, from 5 to 6 with the theme 70s, 80s, 90s music, and many more events. Check out their event information in this week's edition of The Mountaineer.
And that's all for this week episode of The Mountaineer Podcast. All editions of The Mountaineer Podcast are available on our website at www.themountaineer.com.
Go online to www.themountaineer.com to catch up on more local news. I'm Doug Armitage.
And I'm Barbara Hardt. Until next time, thanks for listening.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak-to-Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.